Hey everyone, this is Michael again, and welcome to the Monday Night Raw review. And it is Tuesday, and I didn't put the review up last night. Didn't do a review last night because I always put up my review after when Raw is over. And unfortunately, I was working late last night, so I ended up DVRing Raw, just to watch it and give you guys a review, like I always do. But this Raw was from the Chase Center in San Francisco, and no shitty show it was. This was a very boring show, in my opinion, last night. Very boring to me. And next week, as Michael Cole would say, like he said 100 times during the show, that next week is going to be the season premiere of Monday Night Raw. And I'm like, what? They don't take WWE doesn't have off seasons. Well, why they call it a season premiere? But unfortunately, next week we're gonna get a new logo, and they reveal what the new Raw logo is going to be. Fortunately, to me, I think the new logo for the new Raw logo was very meh to me, and it said that read that there was going to be a new intro song for Raw, and we are going to get Pyro back. Yes, WWE is going to start to do Pyro again for Raw and SmackDown. And the only reason why they're doing this is because, of course, AEW. AEW was not created that WWE wouldn't be, doing Pyro all the time every week for Raw and SmackDown. They would just save it for like WrestleMania. So there you go. The Pyro is going to be coming back starting next week on Raw. So I mean, it's cool. But we all know the reason why WWE is bringing back the Pyro for Raw and SmackDown. So let's get started with the Raw review. So Monday Night Raw opened up last night with Seth Rollins coming out. Seth Rollins came out, he got on the mic, and he ends up saying that he's done and seen a lot of things, but he's never felt the way he did last week. He says he's defenseless because he just got mugged by a bunch of dudes. And then he ends up saying that he's got the living embodiment of a nightmare inches from his face. Of course, talking about The Fiend. And Seth says, no fight left. It was all he could do to close his eyes and hope it was a bad dream. He ends up saying it wasn't a dream. So Seth talks about Hell in a Cell and how dangerous it is. I mean, we all know how dangerous a Hell in a Cell is. We've all seen it before. This is not new to us. Hell in a Cell has been going on for like 22 years since it debuted in 97. So we all know how dangerous it could be, Seth. So he ends up saying about that, and he ends up saying what he should do. So Seth ends up providing his own answer. He will say he'll survive and he'll prevail. So when Seth Rollins said that, I could tell that the WWE shop is going to make a new shirt for Seth Rollins, and it'll say that. Survive and prevail. For Seth Rollins. Watch WWE shop make that a shirt. You can see it now. So he says it was him versus Lesnar at SummerSlam, and nobody gave him a chance in hell, but he did it. He says he took on Braun Strowman at Clash of Champions. He ended up saying it took everything he had to put him down, but he did. He said he's not saying it's going to be easy. And then he gets interrupted by Braun Strowman, Strowman ended up coming out. Both him and Seth had a face-off in the ring. And Strowman ends up telling Seth that if he's got something to say, Seth preferred it to say it to his face. And he says, unless Bray Wyatt, he doesn't run around pretending to be Mr. Rogers, playing psycho games with puppets. He says if he's got a problem with his opponent, he walks right up and lets him know. So Seth ends up, talking about the tag titles, and Strowman ended up cutting him off. Says not only did Seth cost him the tag team titles, he said he hopes he doesn't get a rematch. So Seth ends up saying to Strowman that he's got a lot on his plate. And what he said is that he didn't have to fight him anytime soon after, the beating he got at Clash of Champions. And it was like the way, he's all up in his face. Seth, kind of wanted to fight Strowman. So Strowman ends up saying if that's a challenge. And Seth tells him to take it however he likes. So Strowman says to Seth that he's going to get these hands. That was how the segment ended, but it was a very meh opening to Raw with this segment. Seth Rollins, they're trying to make him like how Roman Reigns was from like 2015 to 2018, those years that WWE was building up Roman and nobody was getting behind him, and they were shoving Roman down our throats, and that they were saying, "Oh, Roman's gonna be, the big guy, the face of the company," and everybody was getting sick of it. Everybody was sick of WWE pushing Roman. That's how I feel was what they're doing with Seth Rollins here. To me. But overall, very meh segment. Then we had the War Raiders versus the OC, Gallows and Anderson. AJ Styles was on the outside. And the match itself, it was a decent match. It was back and forth between them. The War Raiders finally get some competition. You had AJ Styles hold on to, I think Rowe's leg, and then the referee saw it. The referee ended up throwing out Styles, telling him to go to the back. So it was just, the War Raiders and Gallows and Anderson going together without AJ Styles out there. But the War Raiders end up getting the win. They end up hitting the Viking Experience on Carl Anderson to score the win. So the War Raiders end up winning. Yeah, I know they're called the Viking Raiders, but I don't want to call them that because they're always going to be the War Raiders to me. So, all in all, it was a decent match, in my opinion. Then we had Charlie Caruso. She was interviewing Robert Roode going into the Fatal 5-Way elimination match because it was announced that there was going to be a Fatal 5-Way elimination match. Whoever won that match will get to be the number one contender to face Seth Rollins for the Universal Championship. So she ends up interviewing Roode about that and why does he think he's going to come out on top. So Roode says the fact is he pinned Seth Rollins to win the Raw Tag Team Championships. And he's like, so he's already won. And the results will be glorious. That was a little interview with Robert Roode. Then we had Michael Cole. Michael Cole had a sit-down interview with Becky Lynch, and Becky ends up saying that she wants to take a few steps back, talking about how she made the SmackDown Women's Division the best it's ever been, while Raw's division was a wasteland when Ronda Rousey was there. So she ends up talking about how Hell in a Cell isn't to keep Bayley out, it's to keep Sasha in. Of course, this is going to be the second women's Hell in a Cell match. Of course, the first one was what we saw Sasha take on Charlotte. So Becky ended up saying, it's to keep Sasha in. And Becky says she can't wait to have her all to herself, to have Sasha all to herself. And, we all know that Becky was put a fine on her, for using a chair. So Becky ends up saying Sasha wasn't trying to beat her. She was trying to end her. She says at Hell in a Cell, she has a chance to do so. And that was basically the sit-down interview with Becky Lynch. But I thought this was a good interview. I like Michael Cole in this position where, he probably doesn't have Vince McMahon in his ear. He's just doing it straightforward, asking what, he has to say to Becky. That's what I like about Michael Cole when he does these sit-down interviews. When he's on commentary, you can tell he has Vince McMahon in his ear telling him what to say. But all in all, it was a good interview with Becky Lynch. A good sit-down interview with Becky Lynch. Oh my God. Then we had Rusev versus... I didn't know he was still employed with WWE. That guy is EC3. What was the last time we saw EC3 in the ring? Was it against that guy who went to AEW and is calling himself John Moxley? Yeah, that guy. That was the last time I think EC3 was in a match. So Rusev versus EC3. Squash match. What more can I say? Rusev got the win. Accolade on EC3. That was basically it. The crowd was chanting, "We want Lana." Rusev is in this whole storyline, this whole baby daddy storyline with Maria Kanellis and Mike Kanellis. And I'm not joking about this. When I tell this to you guys, you're going to be like, what? But they did this. They are going to be in this storyline, this whole Maria Kanellis, who's the baby daddy storyline. They're actually involving Maury Povich in this storyline. Like, shit you not. Go to the Maury Show Twitter. Makes a short little video where he's saying, "Oh, Mike, Maria, Rusev. If you need a paternity test, call me." I kid you not. Go to Maury's Twitter. Go to the Maury Show Twitter, and you'll see that short little video. So basically, they're saying that Maury is going to appear on Raw. Maybe when they go to, I had this in my head. Maybe they're probably going to do this whole paternity test shit when Raw goes to Nassau Coliseum. Maybe they'll do that. Maybe have Maury come on and do this whole paternity test thing. So I kind of says that. I give my prediction on that. I may be wrong on that, but I was thinking that WWE, might do that. Since the Maury Show is taped in Connecticut, so no, Rusev versus EC3 was a squash match. Then we had Rey Mysterio. He was cutting a promo talking about how he nearly retired a few weeks ago. And he ends up saying he writes it off as just a moment of serious doubt. Says he gives his son Dominic credit for him still being here and being in a number one contenders match for the Universal Championship. So Rey ends up dedicating the match tonight, the match for his son Dominic. So that's the promo that Rey Mysterio cut. But maybe we'll see as we go along. Maybe this sets up Rey Mysterio taking on his son Dominic. Maybe Dominic will turn heel on his dad, and maybe we could get a match between the both of them, which probably they're gonna possibly, if WWE does do that, they're probably just gonna drag it out, and then possibly at WrestleMania next year, we're gonna get Rey Mysterio versus his son Dominic. So, but I kind of predict that. That's my prediction. So, but maybe wrong on that, but I can sense WWE doing it. Then we had Sasha Banks versus Nikki Cross. The match itself, it was okay, but as I watched it, the crowd really looked like they didn't give a shit about this match, and they were basically like quiet throughout when the match was taking place. But Sasha ended up getting the win. Sasha ended up blocking in the bank statement on Nikki Cross. Of course, she had Alexa out there, Alexa Bliss outside. So Sasha got the win, and you had Bayley. Of course, Bayley was out there. She was trying to interfere, and Alexa ended up taking her out, throwing her into the timekeeper area, and like I said, Sasha won with the bank statement. Nikki ended up tapping out. Post-match, Sasha ended up just stopping away on Nikki Cross, and Alexa ended up coming in. Sasha ended up blocking in the bank statement on Alexa, and that was basically that. But overall, it was an okay match. Then we had the OC backstage. AJ Styles asks, when they're going to learn that Gallows and Anderson are not in his league. Gallows and Anderson agreed that Cedric Alexander isn't in his league, isn't in Styles' league. So Styles says it doesn't matter if they're a superhero or a rock star. He's phenomenal, and nothing will get between him and the Universal Championship. And then all three of them do the Too Sweet, and it sends Raw to commercial. That was that. And also, I forgot to mention in the War Raiders versus OC match, when Styles was kicked out by the referee, Cedric Alexander came out, started beating the hell out of Styles. They just went, backstage. They went through the curtain, and then Raw went to the commercial after that. And then when Raw came back from the commercial, it was announced by commentators that Brock Lesnar will be on Raw next week. So Brock Lesnar is going to appear on Raw next week. And after that, he's going to be on SmackDown because Fox really wants Brock Lesnar there. Since Ronda is still away, she possibly might not come back, maybe at the Rumble, maybe at the Royal Rumble, that Ronda comes back. So she's not available. I know she just filmed episodes for 911, which was the Fox show created by Ryan Murphy. So she did episodes on there. I heard she heard when she was filming that, piece of her finger came off, and they had to stitch it up. And glad that she was able to keep that piece of her finger there. So really glad that Ronda's all right from that. But there you go. Brock Lesnar is going to appear on Raw next week, and then October 4th, he's going to have that match with Kofi for the title on SmackDown when it debuts on Fox. So then after that announcement, we go to the Street Profits. Of course, Angelo Dawkins and sorry about that, but I was saying, we went to the Street Profits, Angelo Dawkins and Montez Ford. They're playing, they're the hype men, of course, like every single week. And talk about, the season premiere of Raw. Like we haven't heard season premiere out of Michael Cole's mouth all night last night. So The Miz ends up coming up and mentions about the birth of his new child, which is a girl. Congrats to The Miz and Maurice on new baby. New baby's name is Madison Jade. So that's really awesome. I'm really happy for them. So he goes on to mention, The Miz goes on to mention that next week on the season premiere of Raw next week, he will be hosting a very special Miz TV featuring Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair. Oh boy, Ric Flair's going to be there. If you all read the articles, you know what's going on with Ric Flair and WWE. Apparently, Ric Flair is not happy about WWE giving like the man name to Becky Lynch, and Ric Flair is making a big deal out of it. You all will probably know if you read the articles. Sorry about that again, but I was saying, with Ric Flair, you all will know by the articles, this whole thing going on with Ric Flair and WWE. So there you go, Miz TV next week on the season premiere of Raw, where it's going to feature him and it's going to feature Ric Flair and Hulk Hogan. There you go. More WWE desperation where they got to go out and get, the legends, Hogan and Flair. So for ratings, I can tell this is going to be done for ratings. Then we had Lacey Evans versus Ember Moon. This was meh, in my opinion. Ember Moon, I have to say, she looked good in this match. Pretty much she was basically dominating on Lacey Evans. And, how does Vince McMahon see no potential with Ember Moon? It says, I'm not a fan of Ember Moon. I don't like Ember Moon. The girl is talented. The woman's talented. How do you not see any potential in Ember Moon? I don't get it. I don't get it with Vince. So Lacey Evans got the win. Sharpshooter on Ember Moon. Sharpshooter looked terrible, done by Lacey Evans. I mean, she did it last week, and it looked terrible then. Lacey Evans won the match. Sharpshooter on Ember Moon. First she did the woman's right, and then did the sharpshooter, which looked awful, like I said. So Lacey Evans got the win. Then after that, we had Natalya. She was being interviewed backstage. She ends up saying that if Lacey wants a rematch, she best bet be ready to tap out. So it looks like we're going to get a rematch between Lacey and Natalya. It's going to be a Hell in a Cell. I sense it. or it could happen on Raw. So then we had the Firefly Funhouse. It was a joy seeing the Firefly Funhouse. We see Kane has joined the Wall of Friendship with the X's, with the X on the picture. Bray Wyatt hangs that photo, and he ends up telling us there's always room for one more. So he welcomes us to the Firefly Funhouse. We see a tug of war between Huskus the Pig and Ramblin' Rabbit. They were fighting over a Seth Rollins figure, and they say they've become such big fans of Seth's that they just couldn't share. And so Bray Wyatt informs us that sharing isn't easy, but it's never good to be too attached to something. Because if you love something too much, you become weak, vulnerable to disappointment, neglect, and loneliness. Which I fully agree to that. That is accurate right there. What Bray Wyatt said. So Bray Wyatt says he knows what it's like to be abandoned by those you care about most. He's right on that also. So Ramblin' Rabbit says they don't want the Fiend to hurt Seth. And Bray Wyatt says maybe the Fiend wants to protect Seth Rollins. So Bray takes the action figure and he breaks it in half so that both Ramblin' Rabbit and Huskus can share the figure. So we get Bray Wyatt staring into the camera, all creepy, just staring at the camera like. And he ends up saying, "See you in hell." And that's how Firefly Funhouse ended. So, but Firefly Funhouse, always the entertainment part of Monday Night Raw every week. So that was the Firefly Funhouse. And then we go to the Jobber Ninja Turtle 24/7 Championship Circus. We have R-Truth and Carmella. They run to the ring. Of course, you had Kurt Hawkins and who the fuck cares who came out there? I don't give a shit. The Jobbers, the circus comes down to the ring. Carmella gets on the mic. She begs the guys to stop chasing them. And she says she can't take it anymore. She ends up saying her and Truth have been on the run for like 4 months. And Truth says he's going to get them out of this mess because his clown friend is going to give them a balloon. So basically he was referencing Stephen King's It, with Pennywise. And Carmella continues to have a meltdown. Truth ends up hugging her. So then Carmella ends up rolling up R-Truth schoolboy pin. So Carmella ends up winning the 24/7, the Jobber Ninja Turtle 24/7 title. I don't give a shit about this title. This title needs to be retired. So Truth ends up celebrating. R-Truth ends up celebrating with Carmella. And Carmella then realizes she has to defend the title now. So all the women superstars come out there. The women superstars who are catering, like I saw Sarah Logan there. And Carmella ends up running away from them. Moving on, I'll talk about this Jobber Ninja Turtle 24/7 shit. This fucking circus. So we saw Bayley and Sasha Banks. They were talking backstage. They were talking about Becky's sit-down interview from earlier. They were just trash-talking Becky, running her down. That was basically that. Then we had Shinsuke Nakamura backstage with Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn was giving Nakamura pep talk. So Nakamura ends up standing up, ends up talking to Japanese, who's causing Sami Zayn to back down and tell him that he's going to do great in the Fatal 5-Way Elimination Match. So that was that. Then we had Chad Gable versus King Corbin. Yeah, Baron Corbin. Boring Corbin. So Baron Corbin came out. Of course, he was wearing his, the crown. He had the scepter. The robe. Came out there. Baron Corbin got on the mic because Chad Gable came out. Corbin got on the mic before the match. He was saying he's not here to make fun of anyone. He says this match is going to be rather short. Of course, still making short jokes to Chad Gable. He says, as our king, he decrees that after tonight, he no longer has to compete against anyone under 5'5". So the match got underway. I say the match itself, it was a decent match. It was an enjoyable match. Vince McMahon is behind Chad Gable. He's giving Chad Gable a push, according to articles and reports that I've read. So that's pretty cool about that. So Chad Gable was enjoyable in this match. This is the guy who should have won King of the Ring, in my opinion, not boring Corbin. Everybody's sick and tired of seeing Corbin. So Chad Gable got the win by disqualification because Corbin came in and he used, Corbin ended up reaching for the scepter. He ended up pinning the scepter to Gable. So that caused the disqualification, leading to Chad Gable winning. So Corbin just continues beating down on Gable with the scepter. And he ends up hitting the scepter to the back of Gable's neck. And that was that. But Chad Gable, very entertaining in this match. The last few seconds of the match, the crowd stood up from their seats. They were really into it. And Chad Gable, is going to be, guy to get a big push because, like I said, Vince McMahon is giving Chad Gable a push. He sees interest in Chad Gable, and why not? Why, he has to see the potential of Chad Gable after, him being in the King of the Ring, and how, good and decent he was in the tournament, even though he lost to Corbin, which, in my opinion, he should have won. Chad Gable should have won the King of the Ring. But overall, it was a decent match. It was a very enjoyable match between Chad Gable and Corbin. Then we got AOP, What Was Pain promo. It ended up showing them beating up two guys in the hallway. I think it was Heath Slater, and I couldn't see who the other guy was, but I could tell it was like Heath Slater. It was one of the guys that they beat down was Heath Slater. But we had that. So, gonna get this repackage of AOP. Then we had Ricochet. He was being interviewed. Ricochet ends up talking about having an opportunity to defy the odds and how to prove that superheroes can be real. So he made his way out after that interview, and we had the Fatal 5-Way Elimination Match. it was Rey Mysterio, Robert Roode, AJ Styles, Shinsuke Nakamura, Ricochet, and the Fatal 5-Way. It was a okay, decent match, and Nakamura first ended up eliminating Ricochet. Nakamura ended up hitting the Kinshasa to Ricochet, which ended up Nakamura ended up eliminating him. Then AJ Styles ended up eliminating Shinsuke Nakamura. Styles ended up hitting the Phenomenal Forearm. Sorry about that again. Keep getting interrupted. But I was saying Styles ended up eliminated Nakamura with the Phenomenal Forearm. Then a second after that, Robert Roode ended up eliminating Styles. Roode ended up hitting the Glorious DDT to Styles. And then it was down to Roode and Mysterio. And Rey Mysterio won the Fatal 5-Way match. He ended up hitting the 619 to Roode and the Springboard also to Roode. So Rey Mysterio wins the Fatal 5-Way elimination match. Mysterio is now the number one contender to face Seth Rollins for the Universal Championship. So that's pretty cool. Well, overall, the Fatal 5-Way elimination match, it was an okay, decent match. Then after the match, we had Seth Rollins. He was being interviewed. He ended up congratulating Rey Mysterio on his title shot. He ended up saying it's a dream match he's wanted his entire life. He says he's not thrilled about any of the hard matches he's got coming up. That's how it is when you're on top of the mountain. So that was the interview with Seth Rollins. Then we went to the main event, which was Seth Rollins versus Braun Strowman, which they made official earlier in the show on the commentary. And what can I say about this? If you've seen Clash of Champions and them two going at it, you've seen it here. All it was just Strowman doing shoulder tackles to Seth. Did it on the outside, where he ran around the ring, where Strowman ran around the ring. This is all done just to get another confrontation with the Fiend. And towards the end of the match, the lights go down, and the Fiend is shown in the ring. The Fiend is showed locking in the mandible claw on Strowman. The Fiend ends up choking Strowman out. And again, just like last week, we see Seth Rollins in the corner. And what was really hilarious was when the Fiend was coming towards Seth. Seth was screaming like a pussy, which was hilarious. And I'm like, that's your Universal Champion? I swear, when Seth Rollins was screaming, I was laughing my ass off when I saw the Fiend come toward him and he was screaming. So, the Fiend ends up turning around, ends up protecting Seth from Strowman. Strowman got up, he recovered, and then the Fiend ended up choking Strowman out again. And turns black, TV, and we just hear Bray Wyatt's laugh as Raw went off the air. And pretty much that's how it ended. But once again, the Fiend, the best part of Raw, him and Bray Wyatt, the Firefly Funhouse, and like I said, Seth Rollins versus Braun Strowman last night on Raw. It was all done to get another confrontation with the Fiend. So the Fiend adds another guy to his friendship wall, or Bray Wyatt does. Bray Wyatt adds Braun Strowman to his wall of friendship now. But yeah, so anyways, that's it for my Monday Night Raw review. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed this review. And definitely give the video a thumbs up, comment, subscribe. Of course, the next video will be the SmackDown review. So, until that video, I'll see you all later.